Hi everyone, warm welcome to our next Coder meetup on social equality tonight, live here on the internet. My name is Leonard Niemer, I'm one of the co-founders of NXTCODER, and we're all very excited to welcome you for our little session tonight. As you might know by now, end of May, on May 27, we will have our Sustainability 2030 Online Hackathon in collaboration with Porsche. So on this day, we will work together with many of you and really rethink sustainability at Porsche and how this could look like. For this hackathon, we have defined 3 key topics. One is social equality. That's also our topic tonight. The other one will be supply chain governance. And last but not least, topic number 3, circular economy. So as we have thought about, we have designed a little, let's call it Road to Hackathon with 3 meetups. Tonight, the first one. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to have our meetup on supply chain governance. And on May 26, we're going to have our meetup session on circular economy, where you will have the ability to meet our social impact startups. So this is what's going to happen tonight. We have 1 hour, and we're going to talk, and you're going to meet 2 of our startups that will be part of the Sustainability 2030 Hackathon. And I'm really happy that I have Kjær-Bathel with me here as our first speaker tonight from the ReDI school. So maybe just before we jump into our little interview, just for you all out there, we will have 2 interviews. The first one is with Anne. The second one, we're going to talk with Vostel. In your browser, on the right-hand side, you'll see our Slido feature where you can ask your questions. Really, please make use of this. Ask your questions to Anne, to Stephanie, or maybe to the NXTCODER team. And once in a while, you will also see that live poll feature. So we want to hear from you. We have some questions from you. So I hope you're all ready to go. Anna, are you ready to go? Ready to start that meetup?
I was born ready.
You were born ready. This is awesome. I like this attitude. So warm welcome, Anna. Great to have you as part of our meetup tonight. Usually we are at the Spielfeld Digital Hub in Berlin. Tonight we are on your couch, on my couch. You're based in Berlin right now, that's correct?
Yeah, I just returned to Berlin actually yesterday because my internet was too poor in Wendland, where I have been for the last 2 months. So currently renovating an old farm and trying to not get too distracted by not having internet. But now I'm back in Berlin and I can be effective again.
All right, so welcome back and straight just in time for our next Coder meetup. I think that's great to hear. Your topic, and I think the topic for tonight, as I said, social equality. Social equality on the one hand side, social inequality is a big topic out there, whether that is income inequality, the inequality when it comes to wealth, education. What does social inequality mean for you? What comes to your mind then when you think of social inequality?
I mean, let me first start with the fact that I think that the world is beautiful and diverse and that everyone is absolutely unique human beings born with potential. But unfortunately, depending on where you are born, who your parents were, you have different access to education, you have different access to social services. Some people are allowed to get work, others people have to ask for permission. And I think this lack of access is really what makes our world unequal. And what we're very much trying to at ReDI School is to support the people who need some extra help so that everyone have equal rights and equal access to the good life, essentially.
So what is important? Like how can you actually help in order to lead to that good life?
I think for me, and this is also why I started a school, I think access to education is absolutely essential. And of course, it starts with having access to free education, which we're lucky to have in Germany, also more or less free universities. But for the people, just speaking of Germany, for the people who arrive from the outside, having access to free education is not necessarily the case. We have a beautiful social system in Germany, but not all the activities organized by the Job Center and Bundesagentur für Arbeit are working as they should or as efficiently as they should. So at ReDI School, we're trying to give a parallel support for the people who need it, teaching digital skills all the way from digital literacy to more specialized coding and IoT.
So I think just to emphasize on this, it's not only about having access to free education, but to good quality education. So do you think that is changing over time? Has this changed? Is education per se getting better, or is it still so unequal when you think of different countries, different contexts, and so on?
I definitely think that access to education is getting better, and I think quality education is also getting better. There's still a far way to go. I think if we look at the German school system, we are still very much educating the children for an industrialized society, even though we're living in a digital society. So there's a lot that needs to happen. Teaching coding in school would be a good way to start. But it takes time. I think what I heard was that it takes about 15 years before you can actually get the idea until you have implemented new educational law in Germany. And that's already one generation gone there. So it's extremely difficult to make changes, but a lot of people are caring about this topic, and a lot of alternatives are also popping up online. We see a lot more education that is a mixture of online education and meeting in person. I think it's extremely exciting, but at the same time, I think only the last statistics show that 5% of the people participating in online lessons actually make it all the way to the end of their online courses. I know that's definitely the case by me. I think I've tried 2 times to do online courses, and somehow I just couldn't find the focus of the time. So there's a lot that still needs to happen, but by all means, it is getting a lot better. There's more opportunity out there. So I think a lot of investors are also starting to get their eyes open to the opportunities in EdTech. And we need that.
And you mentioned we see different approaches. So the traditional, let's say, governmental approach might take longer for sure to change. So we see people like you coming in, being highly motivated and coming up with innovative ideas. And maybe tell us a little bit more about why you have started ReDI School and what you actually do and what you try to do different.
So ReDI School was born in 2015 in the middle of the so-called refugee crisis. The short version of the story is that I was in a refugee camp in Buch in the north of Berlin in the summer of 2015, and sat next to a young man called Mohammed, who was from Iraq. And we were just having a normal chat. I'm extremely curious, so I happened to ask a lot of questions all the time. And Mohammed was telling me how he had a bachelor in computer science from the university in Baghdad, but that he didn't have a laptop, so he couldn't continue coding. And he was extremely scared that he would lose his coding skills because I guess there's this term, if you don't use it, you lose it in the digital world, because it is moving at a really fast pace. And even though he could speak good English, he was learning German and he had coding skills, he was still finding it very difficult to continue learning and to get a job in Germany. And on the other hand side, currently there's 124,000 available jobs in the tech industry in Germany, and that represents a 5 billion euro loss every year to the German industry. So a lot of German companies are desperately looking for talent that can code. Many of them go to India, or they go to America, they go to Eastern Europe to find coding talent. And the idea behind ReDI School was, why don't we create a win-win situation where we're training the refugees that have already arrived in Germany in tech skills, and we connect them with the German industry in order to help them find the talent that they need. And that's how ReDI School was born. In the beginning, we had 42 students. Now, 5 years later, we are teaching 650 students every semester, so more than 1,000 students every year. And not just in coding skills. We've had a strong focus on getting women into the program. We now have 60% female participants, but we have succeeded in doing that because we've added a lot of digital literacy skills to the course, so meaning Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. And there's a kids course as well, which is just a lot of fun, playing around with robots and 3D printers.
Not only for the kids, though, right? I want to play around as well and learn how to do that.
You can be a volunteer.
Well, that's okay. I'll think about it. Yes, for sure. And anyhow, we'll talk about volunteering in a second with Stephanie. So that's something that we can probably then link to her. I think it would be interesting to see, you gave an impression of the impact, talking about several hundreds of people. Like, what is your plan and what's your vision? Because you first of all outlined how big the problem actually is. What's your vision there for ReDI School? What do you think you can achieve within the next couple of years?
So we measure impact in different ways. Of course, we look at how many people apply for the program, how many people get into the program, how many people graduate. But at the end of the day, the goal for us is basically we have 3 end destinations for our students. So one being that they get into paid jobs or paid internships. The second, that they return to higher education, be it vocational training or Ausbildung, as it's called in German, or university. And the last option is that they become independent, either that they start a startup or become freelancers. So that is sort of the end of the journey. But of course, you don't go from, I have never coded before, I have no idea if I should go on the Python track or the Java track, to, oh, now I can work as a full stack developer. There's a lot of steps in between. So we, of course, measure that as well. Especially in the women program, we do a lot of measuring around empowerment. So how can we participate in boosting the self-confidence of the women? That they turn up to class, that they get a larger social network, they feel secure learning new things. They have childcare to make sure that they can refocus on learning new things as well. So for us, it always takes a starting point in what's the potential and the talent that the individual student has, and how can we then put them on the right track towards an independent life, either where they continue studying or where they go to work.
Okay, I think that was also one of the questions when I'm looking at Slido. What are some of the future initiatives that ReDI School will be taking on? So what are your plans there? And another one, somebody's already applying here. Please, is it also possible to employ by ReDI School in any way? So what, two different tracks here in the questions.
So say the last part again. Sorry, I missed it. To be employed? Yeah. That's what I heard. But
there's the first application coming in.
Yes, we're actually looking, people with IT skills. We're to stop joking. We're just about to start a new school in Nordrhein-Westfalen. We have already started an initiative teaching coding skills in 2 schools in Marxloh and Duisburg, but we're just about to start a much broader school where we'll be teaching high-end tech skills in Düsseldorf and Essen. There we will be meeting new staff soon, so by all means do apply.
Okay.
But I think the really interesting thing with ReDI School is that everything is built around a community. So we have, I think at the moment, more than 200 volunteers working with us at the school in Munich, in Berlin, in Copenhagen, now in Duisburg very soon, and then also in Düsseldorf. And I think the great opportunity when you are getting a part of the community is that you're always connected to other people who are both passionate about tech, passionate about social equality, and who really wants to make a difference. And I think that's the future leaders of our businesses. And when future leaders get together, that's when good stuff happens. And this is what we are trying to do, to really equally have a focus on how do we develop a good learning experience for the students, but also for the volunteers, because this is an opportunity for all of us to learn. And if a volunteer has a good experience and love coming to ReDI School, then they are more likely to also tell their friends and say, why don't we teach a course together? Or why do we not support together in a different way? And this is probably why we have grown into such a large community in a relatively short period of time.
So the future initiatives really include the physical locations. How much do you plan to do something completely virtual? I mean, also given the time now, everything is going at a much higher speed, going towards digital solutions. That's what we see. So how is that incorporated into your strategy? Do you make any strategic shifts right now, or is it full focus on the physical locations?
Well, I think Corona has given a great opportunity to test this out. Originally, we've actually stayed away from online learning because for us, integration is about people meeting each other physically. And it was what a lot of the refugees and migrants that we were working with, what they were really asking for was not to be online, but to really meet somebody, to speak German together, to learn together. But what we have seen during Corona was that we've taken all our courses online now. And it seems to be working really well. Our attendance rate, actually, it's even better now than it used to be before. I think because a lot of people don't have to travel. What, however, has been a challenge is, especially in our digital literacy courses, especially for the most vulnerable women. So a lot of the women who are mothers are stuck in refugee camps where there's no internet. Mm-hmm. It has been harder for them to access the courses, at least in Munich, because we couldn't distribute the laptops. In Berlin, we started before Corona, hence everyone got a laptop from us borrowed. But what really amazes me is that we've seen pictures of our students. They literally go down in the U-Bahn and they log on to the Wi-Fi there, and mm-hmm. they sit and they do their entire classes in the U-Bahn station. We are now working with Vodafone Foundation and we're distributing phones and hotspots so the students don't have to sit in the U-Bahn in the evening, because it might not be the safest place to be. But at the same time, it just shows the dedication that our students have, and that learning technology, even if it's just knowing how to write your CV in Word, what a big difference that it can truly make. And that to me is extremely touching. But to get back to your question, I think when we can hopefully go back to meeting again a lot more people in person, we'll see a lot more digital opportunities with ReDI School. We've created a mentorship app that is matching mentors and mentees. Mm-hmm. And that is opening up, for instance, that people who sit in Silicon Valley could also join and say, I want to mentor one of your students, and we can connect them in the virtual world. So it'll be a lot more blended learning in the future. We'll take the best from the Corona experience and add it to previous experiences as well. And
hopefully their completion rates will be slightly higher than yours for the online experience.
I think it can only get better.
No offense, but no, I think it's a critical point, of course. How can you keep people motivated? How can you make sure that they actually be engaged and complete courses? When you just mentioned Silicon Valley, and that's a question that was also coming in, can you imagine expanding ReDI School on a global level, take it to South America or Asia? I think that's, good question here.
Yeah, we get a lot of requests. I think pretty much every month there's a new country that is getting in contact and saying, can you start a school in Brazil? Can you start one in South Korea? We are working on the global expansion strategy, but at the same time, ReDI School has always kept a strategy of nail it before you scale it. Mm-hmm. So really ensuring that the quality stays high and that it increases, and then we take one school at a time. At the same time, the idea is universally applicable. So there's no reason why a social entrepreneur sitting in Ghana couldn't say, I want to bring the tech community together to support people get free access to tech education. The part that needs support is the funding side of things. We are talking to people like the GIZ. We're talking to a lot of international foundations. The cost per student, at least in Germany, is about €1,000 per month, which we at the moment get funded through foundations, through corporate partnerships, and to some degree, at least in Munich, also with working with the local municipality. So it's definitely possible to scale. The funding part is where we need the biggest help. It's not the easiest to try to work with German bureaucracy on getting EU funding or funding from the job center. We've been trying for 2 years.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'll not talk too much about it. You'll all get gray hair.
But I can also imagine that the learning experience might need to be adapted somehow, right? You mentioned the kids in Berlin, they can just go downstairs into the U-Bahn station and have Wi-Fi access, which is good. But maybe when you talk about Ghana, there needs to be other ways how you put it into pieces and so on. Is that something that you look in, how to provide educational material for different target groups as well? Is that something significant?
I mean, at this point, we haven't even started like looking into say specifically Ghana, but I am supporting a tech lab for kids in sub-Saharan Africa as well, in the middle of the jungle. So I'm learning a lot from that experience in Cameroon. But for us, it's always this kind of localization that is extremely important. So say we were to do something in Ghana, we would always take a starting point in what's a local need. It'll need its local flavor. We do have a ReDI school now in Copenhagen as well, which in many ways is very similar to what we do in Germany. But because it's run by Danes, it's run for a Danish context, there's always local changes to the program, and I think that's only positive. So, yeah, I mean, everything we do at ReDI School is always built about a user-centered. Everything is co-created with the refugee or the migrant community because they, by all means, know the best what they need, and it creates a high degree of ownership in the program. So it's more fun, it's integration at eye level, and I think what the students really appreciate at ReDI School is that we don't talk down at them. We are friends, we're buddies hanging out and building something that we're excited about together. My experience, and definitely a huge lesson learned in the last 5 years, is that when you treat people as victims and they start acting like victims, but when we talk to the students as talent, they start acting like tech talent, and that really makes a difference.
Yeah, totally. I can totally imagine. While we were talking about Ghana, there was even a question coming whether or not to Nigeria. So I think we have a global audience here. I think there's a lot of
actually, we have a lot of applications coming from Nigeria, but it's mostly students. Okay. And honestly, yeah, I think there's a huge potential. And Nigeria and Kenya as well have fantastic startup scenes bubbling up. I think the future of Africa is definitely going to be digital. It makes it possible to leapfrog into the digital world. So I think it would be fantastic. But yeah, it would be great to do something with the GIZ and maybe another sponsor to see what could be built.
So yeah, let's see. We do a little global travel here. So we've been in Ghana, in Nigeria, Kenya, in the Ruhrgebiet, that's where I'm from. And now we travel virtually to Stuttgart, which is the home of Porsche. And I just think about, as I mentioned before, like May 27, we have our hackathon coming up. You will be with ReDI School, one of the ventures as the challenge provider, let's say. So teams will be working on your challenge. And I think it will be really interesting to hear what is your challenge that people will be working on during the hackathon. Yeah, maybe tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I hope a lot of people will get engaged, and thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to bring a challenge. So what we would love to work on is what we have called the ReDI 360 career platform. That I can even hear. It looks better when you write it, not when you say it. So maybe we need to work on the title. But the idea is really to build a platform that is a little bit like a job matching platform, where students who are looking for a job can upload their profiles, and where companies who are looking for talent can upload their jobs and make it easy to find each other. as I mentioned before, we already built a mentorship app, but it would be nice to potentially also integrate into this kind of career platform, so that people who need advice on their CV or how to improve their LinkedIn profile, or who might need additional help in order to prepare for a job interview, that they would get access to mentors or coaches through this platform. And also easily, if the HR department of Porsche is saying, okay, we have 10 new junior positions, they have these skills, we would love to see more women apply, we would love to see more people, say, of color apply, then this is a great place that they can go and search for the talent. So we would love to actually have this challenge for the two groups that we are working with, where one part is working more on the technical aspects of what would this platform actually look like. And the other group would look more at the demand side and say, how do we market this? How do we get companies to sign up and know about the platform so that they post their jobs there? How do we work with recruiters? How do we work with HR departments? That they also find this to be an attractive product. So the goal for us is really to build a digital tool that accelerates the route for refugees and migrants into the German job market. That said, Germans can also apply to the school, and we are highly encouraging people who have recently lost their job due to Corona to also apply to become ReDI school talents. So when I talk about refugees and migrants the most, definitely Germans are also very much invited to participate at the school, and they already are.
Yeah, I think there was also one question that came, like, do you have different target groups? So it's not just purely focused on refugees, but on a much broader scale then. I think that's cool. Maybe we jump a little bit more into detail on the challenges, because you mentioned the tech challenge. I think it would be really interesting to understand how far are you, what would people be working on? Do you have an idea already? What are skills that you would like to have in your team, for example?
So the team will be led by Benjamin, my colleague, who's actually leading the career department at ReDI School. We would probably be looking for people that can code. We would love to see a prototype, like a minimal viable product built in the day. It always helps to have people with UX background, or UI. So people who can sort of sketch up and what would the touch and feel of the platform look like? What is the experience that you're going to have? So sort of a combination of user experience designers and people with tech background would be great. Product managers is probably also a good thing to just manage the project. So if I can put together the dream team, that would sort of be the three profiles. ReDI School will also hopefully bring a couple of our students who are going through the experience. So our idea is that you will be working with some of our students, so they can also get more experience, and it's a great chance to also get immediate feedback to see from a user perspective what would they actually like to see on the platform.
Cool. Yeah, I like the diversity of roles that you need for this. As you said, like the UI, UX designers who would sketch out the wireframes, have the MVP ready. Maybe we have the coders on board who can actually implement already on the day. And the business side, yes, how can you get, I think, corporates involved, right? I think that's quite important. In the end, the platform needs to be used actively and not just sit there as a platform and wait for people to join, companies to join, but I think you proactively need to approach corporates.
Yep.
So maybe that was, what's your expectations? I mean, that's the final part of our interview. What are your expectations then for the hackathon? Any specifics, any wishes to the community, to Porsche, to us?
I'm expecting a killer product. It's going to be the next big thing. You've got to set your expectations high. Yeah, this has been something that has been on our wish list for a long time. So for us, it's always like, it's an idea, we're talking about it in the team, but once you actually start physically working on it, if we can make a minimal viable product in a day, it also gives us the opportunity, I mean, first of all, to pitch it to Porsche, to see if we can get more support. but also potentially that we can take it to foundations and say, look, we have this amazing idea. This is what it looks and feels like. So they get a much better understanding of, okay, we can really make a difference if we invest in taking this product to the next level. We also have a lot of wonderful coders in our community. So maybe this is also something that later on in the next step could be built either by our students or alumni or the teachers. So for me, it's sort of taking the best next step after having a good idea and starting to make it a reality. So I'm super, super excited. And as we talked about earlier, we do want to scale ReDI School. And if we build a really good product now, it's an opportunity to truly have an impact, not just for the existing ReDI community, but maybe bringing people to job in Ghana. Who knows?
So I see the expectations are high, excitement level is high. So I think we're good to go for the hackathon, right? So a little bit more than 2 weeks to go. I think I would say thank you very much, Anne, here to be part of that meetup tonight, the interview, to join your experiences, your expectations. Also very much looking forward to the killer product that everybody will develop throughout the hackathon day. So thanks again, Anne. Best wishes to Berlin. Enjoy the internet, back in the internet world, and talk soon.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And with this, I would now hand over, we will still stay in Berlin, I would hand over to Stephanie Frost. You will join us hopefully now, also live from Berlin. While we're waiting for her, just to remind you all, so May 27, we have our Sustainability 2030 Hackathon. So really make sure if you want to work with Anna and the team on that killer product, pressure is on, but apply now. Don't get scared. I think it's an exciting opportunity. Stephanie, hi, great to have you with us. I think first question here.
Hi.
Do you also expect a killer product out of the hackathon?
Of course, nothing less.
Easy question, right? I think that was a good start.
Yeah.
Good to have you with us. You are the co-founder of Vostel. You are a corporate volunteering platform, and you do lots of different things, and you will be the second venture that will be part of our Sustainability 2030 Hackathon. So great to have you with us tonight for our little interview here. So I would say let's get started when we talk about corporate volunteering. This is your core topic. What do you really mean with corporate volunteering? What is corporate volunteering for you? Get us into that world, please.
Yeah, so the official definition of corporate volunteering is that companies let their employees volunteer during the working hours. So as an employee, you can choose a social project which you want to support, either with your skills or like very hands-on, and help during the working hours, and your company gives you a free time for this. And
That was a pretty on-point definition of what it is. So maybe I think what's interesting, how is corporate volunteering developing over time? Like I would just like to get that insights from you as an expert. Maybe when we look at Germany, when we look at international companies, is it evolving? Is it changing over time? How do you perceive this?
Yeah, so there's like in the last years a big change, especially in Germany. Corporate volunteering actually started like in the US or in England. It has always been pretty big. So like big corporations like Google or Salesforce, they have been giving their employees this time for years already. In Germany, it's still a bit smaller, but really evolving. So we really see that we got like every year more and more requests by companies that approach us to work with us or to just talk to us about how they can set up a corporate volunteering program. And I also experience a trend that more companies really mean it seriously when they want to establish a corporate volunteering program. Before it was maybe more something to write in your annual report or to have a nice picture, and more corporations really realize that this is not working anymore, and that they really have to change their mindset towards this, and so really mean it.
Okay, that's really interesting. Maybe one thing that we should do here, as I mentioned to all of you, we have in Slido that poll functionality as well. And we thought about a question together with Stephanie for you. So if you now hop over to the right-hand side and go to polls, you will see the first question. Did you participate in a corporate volunteering program? Yes, regularly. Yes, once. No, but I would like to, or no, not at all. So now is your time to vote. We want to hear from you and really see what the answers are. What do you think, Stephanie, without biasing people now, but
I think yes, once will be the top answer.
Yes, once will be the top answer. Okay. Well, I see the results, so I can't say much right now. The results keep popping in. But maybe we can also show the results. So Johannes will probably show the results now on the screen. And little surprise here, the majority says no, but I would like to. So 57% say this, and it still keeps changing. We have 13% saying no, not at all. So we have to convince these guys as well, right? And we have to provide some opportunities for the ones who said no, but I would like to, which seems to be the majority of our audience. So how could people get involved with corporate volunteering?
Yeah, so there's actually basically one decision to make. Do I want to bring in my skills? So do I want to help an NGO, a social organization with what I'm doing during my job? So as a marketing person, for example, I could design flyers or create a marketing concept for a social organization. Or as a techie, I can help social organizations with setting up their websites or programming an app or so. Or do I want to do something totally different than from my daily work life? For example, helping out in a garden or doing an excursion with kids. So there's actually a wide range of opportunities and lots of things that are needed by social organizations. And then, of course, it really depends on what your employer decides. So do you have one day a year to give away, or can you join a regular program? This also decides on the company a bit.
But that's interesting when we talk about the different skills. I mean, on the one hand, it could be very specific skill sets, as you said, marketing, tech skills. Yeah. On the other hand, it still feels like, oh, I'm just going to the kindergarten and help 1 hour. Not saying that this is bad, but do you feel there is a shift towards more skill-based volunteering happening, or is that still hard to tell?
I have the impression that many corporates and companies would like to offer more skill-based volunteering because, of course, their employees bring in the skills and maybe even develop their own skills, which is also good for the job itself. Yeah. But when we do surveys amongst the employees, many of them actually tell us that they would like to do something different. So I'm sitting on my desk the whole day anyways. I don't want to stay in the office when I help. I want to leave the workplace and I just want to be outside and maybe just paint a fence for 2 hours and just do something practical. And also the results that you achieve when you do something hands-on, sometimes a bit more visible immediately than, like, for example, doing a concept for communication. This is not so tangible sometimes.
Yeah, totally. And I think a valid point. So for the corporates, what's in there for them? Why should they set up? I think the skill argument could be a big argument. What are other reasons why corporates set up proper programs to do something like this?
Yeah, so like the first reason that comes to most people's minds immediately is, of course, image. So as a company, when you offer corporate volunteering, you can put it on your website and you can tell the community, hey, we are an engaged company. But it also has a big impact on the employees. So employees that can join corporate volunteering programs are more motivated. They feel more identification with the company. It's also, of course, a great team event. So if you go with your colleagues and you join a social cause together, this creates something, and after the day something changes in your minds, and this is also a very big impact corporate volunteering can have. So it's not only on the social organization. Of course, you're doing something good for them, but you're also doing something good for yourself as a person, and it shows you a world that you would maybe not see otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think that's a good moment to jump into the second poll question, something that we thought about, right? So for us, when we talked, when you think of corporate volunteering, A, impactful, or B, marketing gag? Sorry, we're a little bit provocative here. So again, go to the right-hand side, Slido feature. This is where you can poll. Because I think that's an important point, right? This will be also subject to criticism to say this is just to be done for image reasons, if you want. How do companies actually implement something that goes way beyond this? So what do corporates need to do that it's not just an image thing?
Yeah, so this is what I said in the beginning. You really have to mean it seriously, which means as a company, you really need to want to do something good. And this means that it will cost resources. So it's not like, we just send 20 people to the kindergarten and then they paint the fence and then it's great. We have a nice picture and put it in the annual report. Everyone will realize that it's just a marketing gag when you do it like this. And also the kindergarten will realize it and they probably don't want to work with this company anymore. So it's also about listening to the social organization. So what do you really need? It's not about what the company needs, but what the social organization needs. And there's often a very big gap. And it's, as I said, also about financial resources. So you have to give your employees the free time, of course, which is already a cost to pay, but also thinking about material costs. So if I want to build a playground for a kindergarten, who pays for the wood and who pays for the paint for this playground? And very often companies don't want to pay for this. They just want to send the employees over and think this is enough, but this is not enough.
Although I can imagine that, like for the paint example, that wouldn't be the major cost, but really it would be the HR cost. And it's quite interesting to see, do these programs happen actually during the work time or free time of employees? Because I think we also see both, right? Sometimes it's a volunteering initiative driven by the employees in their free time. How are the different programs there?
Yeah, it's true. Both exist, but from our experience, the volunteering programs that really give you time off during the working hours are more successful. Because otherwise, there are people that already get involved during their free time, and actually they don't really need their employer for this. But this is just my personal opinion.
So it's a clear recommendation if you want to say, like, if you want to set up a corporate volunteering program, it should be during work time hours and not after work, right?
Yeah.
What do you think what the group has answered when you think of corporate volunteering impactful marketing gag?
Exciting. Yeah, maybe marketing gag or maybe 50-50.
Okay, you have to decide now.
50-50.
You're so wrong. I'm sorry to say. No, we have a very positive audience. Like 84% said impactful and only 16% said marketing gag.
Perfect.
That's surprising.
But this also makes sense because there were people that said, I want to take part. And if they would think, okay, it's just a marketing gag, maybe they wouldn't have said that right. But if you do it right, it is not a marketing gag at all. So this is also my opinion. And I mean, we are working in corporate volunteering and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't spend my time, my lifetime working in this field if I would think it has no sense, right?
So tell us, how do you spend your lifetime in this field with Vostel? Like, what do you actually do with the organization? What's your role in there to make sure that corporate volunteering is really implemented well?
Yeah, so actually I have to admit, when we started in 2015, we didn't really know anything about corporate volunteering. We actually heard about it in a pretty negative way because we set up our online volunteering platform. So we matched volunteers and social organizations. And this is where we learned a lot about volunteering and about social organizations and what they need and how they tick. And they actually told us, we always get those requests by companies and they want to work with us, but it doesn't really help us because they don't understand us. Companies speak a different language. And so sometimes it doesn't really work out. And this was actually a point when we thought, okay, but in a company, there's a lot of great resources, like human resources, financial resources. And if you do it right, corporate volunteering can be a really cool thing. And this is actually when we started to think about this topic and to learn and learn and learn. And we built up all our products around corporate volunteering needs-based by talking with social organizations and asking them, okay, what do you need that a company coming to your organization and helping really makes sense? So this is like the basis of our work. We only work needs oriented. And my personal role is like I'm one of the co-founders, and at Vostel I'm responsible for taking care of our partner companies, so of the corporates. But we also have a lot of people in our team that take care of the social organizations. And so like this, we bring together both worlds, also internally at Vostel.
Okay, yeah, super interesting. You mentioned the platform, that matchmaking platform. Just one thing that comes to mind spontaneously. We just talked about ReDI School, who also working on that kind of platform. We're all social entrepreneurs sitting in the same boat. How do you feel about this topic of collaboration in this field? I mean, I can imagine there's a lot of synergies that can be lifted from working together on technology aspects, on processes whatsoever. Just a thought that came into mind.
Yeah, no, it's this is totally true. We actually also work with ReDI School because this is what Anne mentioned. I think when we talked before that they are looking for volunteers through our platform. Collaborations are always a great thing, especially in a social entrepreneurship. When we started to build our platform in 2015, there was actually no other platform like ours around. And so we developed, and now there's of course other players coming to the market. Most of them use different technology. So it's actually in our specific field of like matchmaking, not so easy to collaborate technique-wise, honestly. Yeah.
Okay. But I think it would still be a big field to explore for social entrepreneurs in general. How can we
it's true.
Remedies? Because that's really not happening. There's still, let's say, a lack of resources in terms of funding, in terms of technology resources, HR. So I think it would be really interesting. I think there's one question coming in, talking about recent times now, COVID-19. We see an increase in social impact initiatives during COVID-19 times. Do you think the future of CSR will become more prominent? I think we would say both CSR, and I would add on corporate volunteering, right? So CSR is a bigger topic and corporate volunteering.
I've also experienced that a lot of companies approach us during those times that want to help. Nevertheless, in times when maybe there's a big recession coming, and many companies won't earn as much as they maybe did before, corporate volunteering is not the priority one topic. But the companies that have a business model that is maybe online based, and there are companies that are winners in this crisis at the moment, those companies really try to give back. This is what I experience.
So is that something that you really observe now already, that these kind of programs are cut back in a way, that time commitments, resources is getting lower? Is that the case?
So financial resources getting lower, and also for companies that base their corporate volunteering on offline volunteering. So, for example, having social days with 20 people going somewhere. Of course, this is not possible at the moment, and these programs are cut back, but replaced by online volunteering programs, because there's a lot of things that you can also do from home or from your home office and do online. And this is a kind of a replacement also. Yeah,
totally. No, I think it's a really interesting point, like how crisis situations affect our bigger topic of social impact, the social entrepreneurship sphere. And I would say from my observation, social entrepreneurs right now have to struggle even more, because they are somehow, when it comes to traditional businesses, under the radar, because it's a different subsector somehow.
Yeah.
When it comes to revenue models, it's a different approach. How do you perceive this in general, like the social entrepreneurship sector now?
I think the same, because social entrepreneurs always have the challenge that they are not really seen as a company, but also not as a non-profit organization, especially when you have a business model. And then you're always in between. And for example, at the moment, many fundings or funding opportunities are just not for social entrepreneurs. Yeah. So even if there's possibilities to get funding by a bank, for example, maybe for conservative companies or for companies that are just normal profit companies, but as a social enterprise, it's not so easy to get those fundings. And then there's maybe fundings for non-profits, but this is also not the case for many social entrepreneurs. So this is very difficult times because we are always in between.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. In between and the very specific field that social enterprises, social businesses are operating in. Maybe let's take a positive outlook into the future. Like, what are the plans also for Vostel? What do you want to do? How do you want to create impact in the future? Yeah, just tell me about all your plans.
Yeah, so we are at the moment based in specific cities in Germany, and of course we want to scale Vostel to other cities as well. So this is of course a plan to be able to reach even more social organizations and to be able to reach more people that get involved. Because our vision is to actually make it easy and possible for everyone to get involved. So no matter what your skills are, no matter what language you speak and where you located. It's about getting scaling in Germany, not worldwide. If
not
this
yet.
Was your next question.
Africa, our regional focus was Africa. this meetups. So no plans for Ghana and Nigeria yet.
Not yet, no.
So Germany-wise, that's scaling plans there. And I think on that way to scale, we have the hackathon on the way.
Exactly.
Right? Same for you, and similar question. What will be your challenge that you will put in the hackathon that people will be working on? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So we have a business challenge and a tech challenge as well, and they are not really connected to each other as with ReDI School. Our tech challenge is about creating or developing a map, because at the moment when you visit our platform you can type in which city you want to be, but you cannot see on a map where you are located and where all the volunteering opportunities are located. If we want to scale to other cities as well, and also want to make it possible for companies that maybe have more locations in Germany, or to easify the search, this would be a feature that we have been wishing for months now, and this will be the opportunity to finally build that. And the whole Vostel team is very excited about it, and our developer is even more excited about it, to work with skilled people that help us to create this API, this map with an API to our database. This is the tech challenge. And the business challenge is about sales, actually, about how we can address more companies or address companies even better, because corporate volunteering is not an easy topic to sell. So it's not like calling and saying, hey, have you ever thought about corporate volunteering? Here we are. It's a bit more difficult, and we would love to have some maybe salespeople, marketing people that support us to think about a clever strategy of how to address this topic better than we do now.
Okay, so sounds like two really good challenges. I'm pretty confident on the tech challenge you will have the great map. I think that will be a good challenge for our people out there, coders, designers, hackers.
Yeah.
They might even come up with more things, I can imagine. So we have highly motivated people out there. And also for the business challenge, I think will be super interesting how to develop these kind of sales strategies. I mean, with Porsche, we have a corporation, people who have a lot of experience from that side. What would be important for them in order to have something like this implemented in a successful way? So what are your expectations from that hackathon day then? The killer product.
Yeah, I just wanted to steal it. I just wanted to steal it. It would be really cool to just work with a great group of people that maybe even are interested in volunteering afterwards, so volunteering more. And yeah, of course, having our new great feature that we can implement in our platform, because this will really help a lot. Even maybe it sounds small, for us it's huge. And also having a plan in the end, or maybe even some nice marketing material, depending on what we can do during the day. That would be cool for the business challenge. Something we can just send out to the world and make Vostel even bigger.
And I think that's generally a really good and important message there. It might be a small thing that others would consider small because they already have done it, implemented in a different context, but for you, it would be a huge game changer. And I think this is something, especially in our sector, there's so many game changer potential when it comes to technology solutions. When others who have done it would kind of incorporate it into the sector, into all these great solutions out there, I think this is where we can have really massive impact, because again, organizations like you, for you, it would be a big thing. So again, I think this is kind of a call to action for our participants for the hackathon, right? So
sign up.
Sign up, and that killer map and the game changer feature. And maybe last thing here, because it's a very specific question that comes, and I think it's also good to emphasize how can people apply and volunteer. So it's not just corporate volunteering, right, on Vostel, but people can apply. And here's a question for someone who is yet unemployed and has a passion to volunteer. How can this person apply?
Yeah. So you don't even need to apply. You just need to visit our platform, vostel.de, Vostel with an V. And there you find all the volunteering opportunities, and at the moment, especially online volunteering opportunities. So you can really help from home as well. So you can just look through the projects and contact the organization that you would like to support.
Very easy, low entry barrier, right?
Yes.
So everybody right now, right after the call, can basically start.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
Stephanie, thank you very much. I think we're already coming also to an end of our interview and kind of to an end of our NextCoder meetup tonight on social equality. So as I said, we will have the next meetup coming up next Tuesday, May 19th. On supply chain governance, 6:30 p.m. You will be online watching, Stephanie? You'll join us?
Of course.
Of course.
And questions.
The other one is on May 26th on circular economy, and then on May 27th, the big online hackathon day on sustainability 2030 in collaboration with Porsche. I'm excited. I have big expectations for what all of you will be working on. So the pressure is on our community, but I'm really confident. And with this, I would say thank you very much to you, Stephanie. Thanks also to Anna, who is joining us from her couch with good internet tonight. Thanks to all of you for the active engagement, for the questions, for participating in the polls. And thanks to the NextCoder team for setting this up. And I wish you a good evening, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday, for our next meetup. Bye-bye.